Hello everyone, this is Amit and welcome back all of you to this session, Introduction to Java Servlet. First, let us take a look to the topics covered in the last session. So in the last session, you have learned about the introduction of web and what is the relation of web with HTTP. After this, you have done the basic concepts of Java servlets. What are the Java servlets and how Java servlet is used to create the dynamic web page. After that, you have learned about the difference between servlet and the CGI, or what is the need of servlet. So in this session, I will talk about the basic features of the servlets, and after understanding the basic features of the servlet, you will learn about what is web container and what is the role of web container for creating servlet program. After this, you will learn about the life cycle of the servlets and life cycle methods of the servlets. After understanding the concepts of life cycle of servlet, you will learn about the Servlet API and architecture of servlet. So first and foremost, I will talk about the basic features of servlets. So let us discuss the main features of servlets. So these are the main features of servlets. So servlets are portable. Since Java is platform independent, so the same holds true for the servlets. For example, you can create a servlet on Windows operating system and later run it on any other operating system like Unix and Linux with Apache Tomcat web server. These features make servlet portable, and this is the main advantage of servlet over CGI. CGI was not portable and servlets are portable. The second important features of servlet is efficient and scalable. On the other hand, CGI was not efficient and was not scalable. So once a servlet is deployed and loaded on a server, it can handle multiple requests at the same time using the multi-threading features of Java. So compared to CGI, where the server has to initiate a new process for every client request, so that in the servlet is truly efficient and scalable. So servlets are truly efficient and scalable, but CGI was not. The third important feature of servlet is robust. So by inheriting the top features of Java such as garbage collection, exception handling and Java security manager, the servlet is less prone to memory management issues and memory leaks. This makes development of web application in servlet secure and less error prone. So servlets programs are more robust with compared to CGI. Next important feature of servlet is secure. Servlets program are secure, so it inherits the security features provided by the web container. So web container is responsible for providing the security features of servlets. And next important features of servlet is session management. Session management maintains the identity and state of end user across multiple requests. So that was also not provided by the CGI. And the last important feature of servlet is instance persistence. So what is instance persistent? It enhances the performance of the server by preventing frequent disk access. So it will persist the object of the servlets. So that all about the features of the servlets. So let me jump to the web container. What is web container? This is the important components of the web server. What is web container? A web container, also known as servlet container, and it is the component of a web server that interact with Java servlets. This is the important component of the web server that interact with the Java servlets. A web container or servlet container is responsible for managing the life cycle of servlets and mapping a URL to a particular servlets and ensuring that the URL requester has the correct access rights or not. So in the below figure you can see web servlet container or the web container. It is the part of web server. When client send a HTTP request to the web server sends this request to the servlet container, and servlet container retrieve the resources and send response back to the client via web server. A web container handle requests to servlets, Java server pages, and other type of files that includes server-side program or server-side code. A web container creates servlet instance, loads and unloads servlets, creates and manages request and response objects, and perform other servlet management tasks. So it also provides many features like security management, concurrency management. It also manages the life cycle of the servlets and transactions management and deployment and other services. All these features are provided by the web container. So web container is the important component of the web server that provides many features. So now let me jump to the new concept, that is servlet life cycle. This is the important part of the web container. So servlet life cycle is managed by the web container, and the entire life cycle of a servlet is managed by a web container, which use the javax.servlet.http interface to understand the servlet object and manage it. The servlet lifecycle mainly goes through 4 stages. You can see the 4 stages, in which the first stage is loading a servlet or loading an instantiation. When a server startup, the servlet container deploys and load all the servlets. This one is loading the servlets. Means when server startup, the servlet load first time. And the second stage is initializing the servlet. Initializing the servlet means a servlet is initialized by calling the init method. Init method is the first method which are the part of servlet lifecycle, and a servlet is initialized by calling the init method, and this method is called by the servlet container to notify that this servlet instance is instantiated successfully and is about to put into service. And the third important stage is handling request or request handling. After servlet initialized, servlet calls service method to process client request and is invoked to inform the servlet about the client request. So the client request is handled by the service method, and after this the fourth stage is destroying the servlet. Finally, a servlet is terminated by calling a destroy method. Destroy method runs only once during the life cycle of a servlet and signals the end of the servlet instance. So finally, there are three methods which are central part of the life cycle of the servlets, that is init method, service method and destroy method. So one important thing you need to remember, the init and destroy method are called only once during the entire life cycle of the servlets. Finally, a servlet is garbage collected by the garbage collector of the Java virtual machine. So these are the three methods which are important in the life cycle of the servlets: init, service and destroy. Init method is used to initialize the servlet and it is called only once, and destroy method, it is used to unload the servlet from the memory and it is also called once in the entire life cycle of the servlets. And the second method, that is service method. Service method is called every times when client make a request to the server. So this concludes the life cycle of the servlets. Now let me jump to the next topic, that is Servlet API. API is application programming interface. So two packages contains the classes and interfaces that are required to build servlets. These are javax.servlet and javax.servlet.http package. You need to use Servlet API to create servlets. These are the two important packages that you must remember while using API. The javax.servlet package that contains the classes to support generic servlets. Generic servlet means protocol independent servlets that does not depends on any protocol. If we are talking about protocol, it means we are talking about HTTP. The javax.servlet protocol, so the javax.servlet package is protocol independent servlets, and the second important package is javax.servlet.http package, which is used to handle the HTTP request, or we can say this package supports HTTP servlets. So javax.servlet.http package that contains classes to support HTTP servlets. So you may be wondering what is generic and HTTP servlet. So I will explain them later in the next session in detail. What is the difference between generic servlet and what is HTTP servlets? So let me jump to the APIs of the servlets, and the first API is javax.servlet package. Javax.servlet package contains a number of interfaces and classes that establish the framework in which servlet operate, or we can say these packages are not specific to any protocol. So you can say we have a table that have interfaces and descriptions. So javax.servlet package have some interfaces and have some classes. So in this table you can see only few interfaces which are available in javax.servlet package, and first interface is servlet interface. So what is the meaning of servlet interface? So you need to remember this interface. This interface declare lifecycle methods of the servlets. So servlet interface is responsible for defining lifecycle methods of the servlet means init, service and destroy. Second interface is servlet config. Servlet config interface permits servlets to get initialization parameters. We will study this interface in detail in the next sessions. After this, we have the interface servlet request and servlet response interface. Servlet request and servlet response interface is used to read and write data from the client request and to the client response. After this, we have one more class, that is generic servlet class. So javax.servlet package have the class. This package have many number of classes, but I have mentioned only one class. Remaining class we will study in the next session. So generic servlet class, what is the use of generic servlet class? So right now you remember only, and you need to remember only the description of generic servlet. It implements the servlet and servlet config interface. This class implements the servlet and servlet config interface. So this is the generic servlet class. All the classes and all the interfaces we will study in detail in the later session. Just right now I just briefing some of the interfaces and classes exist in javax.servlet and javax.servlet.http package. Now come to the next one, javax.servlet.http package. So this package also contains a number of interfaces and classes that are responsible for HTTP request only. So you have to remember, this package is restricted to HTTP request only, means protocol dependent. It uses HTTP protocol to make HTTP requests. You can see it also have some interfaces like HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response. HTTP servlet request, it is used to read data from a HTTP client request, and HTTP servlet response, it is used to write data to a HTTP client response. And this package also have a class HTTP servlet. So HTTP servlet class extends the generic servlet class and implements serializable interface. So that is just briefing about some interfaces and class available in javax.servlet and javax.servlet.http package. So in the later sessions we will study one by one in detail. Now come to the next, servlet architecture. What is the architecture of servlets? So you can see this is the class hierarchy diagram, in which you can see on the bottom side user defined class, then HTTP servlet class, then generic servlet class, then servlet interface. So every class implement the servlet interface. I told you when you will create the first program in servlets, so every servlet class directly or indirectly implements the servlet interface. So you can see in the picture you have a user defined class. Every user defined class extends HTTP servlet class, and I told you HTTP servlet class extend, you can see I told you HTTP servlet class extends the generic servlet class, and generic servlet class implements servlet interface. So this is the class hierarchy for creating the user defined class in the servlets. So this class hierarchy you will understand when you will write the first hello world program using the servlets. So however, instead of directly implementing the javax.servlet.servlet interface, we extend a class that has implemented the interface like javax.servlet.generic servlets or javax.servlet.http servlets. So that is the architecture of the servlets. So when you will write the first program using servlets, you will understand better this diagram, how it will work. So that was all about this session. So in the next session, you will learn how to install and configure Apache Tomcat server in Eclipse and steps to create servlets programs. What are the steps we need to follow for creating servlet program? And in the next session, I will talk about how to create Hello World program using generic servlet class. So thank you very much for watching this wonderful session. Have a good day.